Hi, Ina.
Hello.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm trying to find, everybody's not showing up on mine.
At all? Even if I speak?
No, I
Oh,
see.
let me take that background off.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, Venerable.
Hello. Team. Let me see how many of
Greetings.
Ben, Levi, Louis, Simon. Okay. Twee.
Hi, Simone. Oh, Kathy.
你们师傅好。
Simon 好。Simon. Aina, your light is a little.
Oh, maybe that's, let me turn, I don't even find me on here. So for some reason, I'm not even, oh, there I am. Okay. All right, I'll put another light on.
Okay. Yeah, better.
It's better.
Yeah.
Okay. I usually sit over at the desk when I'm teaching, but I'm trying to be casual and it's not working.
Okay. So, hi. Good, as you say, good evening, everyone, right?
Hello.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
So, this is JG, and I'm teaching from Austin. Can you imagine that? This is high tech. And so at the subject that I'm going to teach is Sutra study, and the book that I choose is The Rabbit's Home, which you can see from the slides, and it's a commentary on the Platform Sutra. In total, we have 10 classes, and so it happens to have 10 chapters. So my ambition is to complete the 10 chapters by the end of our class. We'll see whether we can make it or not. And maybe some of you do not have the textbook at hand. And so to make it easier for everyone, I would prepare PowerPoint. And for those who would like to read more details, then I would suggest you to order a book from Buddha's Light Publishing. And so let's start. Okay. And this book that I pick up, The Rabbit's Home, it's a commentary on the Platform Sutra, actually. And it's originally written in Chinese, so it's a translation in English. And at the very beginning of the book, it tells us that this translation is a practitioner's translation, meaning that it will be applied, it can be applied in our daily life. And that's the reason why I choose this book. Because before the class, I discussed that with Venerable Man Guang, who teaches the meditation class. So I said to her, I think that maybe those who attended my class would also have interest in taking her class and vice versa. So this is the background story of why I pick up this book. And the style of the translation, it says that it just follow the Master Huinen's unpretentious style. So it's very direct and it's simple, easy, approachable for guidance and for your contemplation. If sometime you have time, then you can think about the teachings. And the Platform Sutra is unique in many ways, okay? And it is the only Buddhist text not attributed to the Buddha, okay? So many times we read the sutra, we started, thus have I heard, and then Buddha spoke the teaching, the sutra in a certain place. But this is the only Buddhist text not attributed to the Buddha, and it is elevated to the title of a sutra. Okay? And this is the only sutra written and conceived of entirely as a Chinese text, okay, rather than a Sanskrit translation. Here it is Sanskrit translation and leave out Pali translation. It's because most of the Chinese sutras, it's translated from Sanskrit version, okay? And in this sutra, it's the workings of Chinese language is also very unique. Say, for example, it says that the Master Huineng, the hero of the Platform Sutra, is an illiterate. But here in this sutra, it says that Master Huineng, before he got recognized, his special talent or faculty in understanding the Buddha's teaching by writing a gatha. So you need to have a special skill in writing a gatha. So here I show you the gatha that Huineng wrote. It says that essentially, Bodhi is not a tree. The bright mirror is also not standing. Inherently, there is no thing. Where can it attract dust? So this is a poem, and it's like a stanza in English poem. And if you read that in Chinese, it's a 4-line stanza, and then it rhymes together. And so you need to have certain kind of training in the language to be able to write a gatha, okay? And so the first thing is that we can see the workings of the Chinese language here, okay? And it also explains Buddhist concept in Chinese next to their parallels in Sanskrit translation. So this transliteration, okay? So it is like, for example, Ichantika in Chinese, Yi Chan Ti. Okay, so Yi Chan Ti is the transliteration of its Sanskrit word, Ichantika. And sutra in Chinese, it is Xiu Duo Luo. Okay, that is in Master Huineng's teaching, Xiu Duo Luo, and it comes from sutra in Sanskrit. And San Mo Di comes from samadhi. Okay, so you can compare the transliteration of the Sanskrit, its Sanskrit origin, and the Chinese translation. And then in this sutra, you can also find it's unique because it analyzed the Buddhist doctrine character by character. For example, meditation in Chinese is Chan Ding, and Master Huineng is explaining what is Chan and what is Ding. And this is very unique in this sutra. Okay, and so the Platform Sutra, it's the hero of the Platform Sutra, Master Huineng. He lives in the Tang Dynasty, which is about 7th century, okay? And at that time in Chinese Buddhist history, it's a time that Chinese Buddhism were divided into different schools. Some said about 8 schools. And among the 8 schools, the most popular one that last is the Chan school or the meditation school. And it upholds the Platform Sutra as the most important sutra. And the other Chinese Buddhist school that parallel with the Chan school in Chinese Buddhist history is the Pure Land school. And they uphold the Amitabha Sutra as the most important Buddha's teaching. And so in Platform Sutra, we not only learn the meditation school's teaching, but also we can see how Master Huineng, or we can also put it like this, how the meditation school look at the Pure Land school practitioners, okay? And we can talk about that later. And so in this Platform Sutra, it sort of like redefine the Buddhist ideas in its own special language. So for the Chinese Buddhist reading this sutra, we feel that it's like we call it's a Buddhist revolution. It redefines some of the Buddhist terms, and it is framed under the term which is called intrinsic nature. And some call it as self-nature or Buddha nature, and we will discuss more about it next week. And to understand this sutra, my master suggests that we all have some understanding of the Buddhist idea of karma and the theory of the 6 realms of existence and how that related to the moral development. And of course, we need to learn about the 6 sense organs and how that in contact with the 6 sense objects, and that arise the 6 sense consciousness, okay? And the 3 poisons of greed, anger, delusion are also very important teaching that we have to bear in mind when reading this sutra. And the 5 desires, which are wealth, sex, fame, food, sleep, okay? The 5 aggregates, form, feeling, perception, mental formations, consciousness. Now you may, when you hear me listing these very basic Buddhist terms, maybe you are wondering why in sutra studies, it seems like we are reading attending the class of Buddhist fundamentals. But this is very important to have this kind of Buddhist knowledge, so that when we go to the text of this Platform Sutra, we can see how Master Huineng redefined these terms. Okay, and also in this sutra, we will come across a word, 真如 or suchness, okay? And this is how an awakened person see the world such as it is. And put it in more common terms we use when we talk about Buddhism, we say that after we got enlightened or we get rid of the ignorance, we can see things as they really are. And my master, Venerable Master Xing Yun, says that this sutra is very relevant to humanistic Buddhism that he promotes, because here he quotes what Master Huineng says. Therefore, all teachings were established for people, and all sutras were spoken for the sake of human beings. Okay, I should put quote unquote. Okay, so far this is a very brief introduction of the Platform Sutra before I start going to chapter 1. Do you have any questions?
Yes.
Yes.
So rabbit's horn is part of the Platform Sutra, right?
Okay. The rabbit home. So can you show me where the rabbit home is? Can you show me?
What do you mean?
Does that exist?
No.
No.
There are ears.
Okay. So my master entitled book, Rabbit's Home, means it doesn't exist.
Oh.
Okay, now it's a call-on for you, Simone, to think about what does that it refers to. It doesn't exist, like the rabbit's home. Okay. Why I continue? You can think about it.
Sure.
Any other questions? No. Okay. Then let me continue. Okay. I would keep on talking, and hopefully I can leave some time for Q&A. Right? Say if you have any questions, please raise your hands.
Just a comment about the rabbit's horn. As we continue throughout the book, she will understand what the rabbit's horn refers to, because it's actually within the context of the book.
Okay, good.
Oh, thank you.
That's a good incentive that you read the book. Okay. Now next. Okay, so chapter 1. Okay, here is a list of what we will come across in chapter 1, and it entitles as the circumstances of my awakening. And here, my refers to Master Huineng. So he talks about himself, about what happened to him before he learned Buddhism, okay? And then what happened after he learned, he got enlightened. So it is divided into several sections that my master comment on the first chapter, which is the life of Huineng, the robe and bowl, self-liberation, the hidden and profound patience, and approaching the Dharma, life after awakening. Okay. So first thing is life of Huineng, right? And in the text, we learn that his mother was a devout Buddhist. Okay, so my question for you is that, because many people ask me, Venerable, why you renounce as a nun, or when did you start learning Buddhism? So if we say, for example, if we come across Master Huineng, and this probably is the question that would ask him. So Master Huineng, why you learn Buddhism? Who taught you about Buddhism before you renounced, or before you went to the fifth patriarch? Okay? And here I would like you to think about that. If you have a parent or both parents at home who practice Buddhism, so what would that kind of impact on you? Okay? And when he was little, there were 2 monks who prophesied that this child will be capable of spreading Buddha Dharma and to benefit all sentient beings. Okay, and then it continues to describe his first time hearing the recitation of the Diamond Sutra. Okay? And when he met his master, the fifth patriarch, okay, and he was sort of like belittled by being a southerner. So he came from the South, and the South at his time is regarded as a place which is not very, people are not very cultivated, right? And so the cultural difference in China, maybe this is a discussion that we can talk about. And people say, but at the very beginning of the chapter, his father, we learned that his father lives in, originally stay in the north. Okay, Fanyang is like Beijing nowadays. So actually, he is not really very southerner. Okay, he's like a person living in the north. So the north, if you are northerner, then you'll be regarded to be more educated, more cultivated, more sophisticated in handling all kinds of things. Okay, and so the first encounter between the master and the student that bring up the idea, right, the concept of how people in the north look at people from the south. Okay, and it also talks about the Mahaparinirvana Sutra, or we can simply put it as Nirvana Sutra. And it's, so now up to here, we can see the Diamond Sutra and Mahaparinirvana Sutra at the very beginning of the Platform Sutra. So perhaps I can give you a little background about these two sutras. The Diamond Sutra talks about sunyata, or emptiness, okay? And the Mahaparinirvana Sutra talks about quite the opposite, somewhat the opposite of the idea of sunyata, okay, which is being, okay, or bhava. And when the development of the Mahayana Sutra, the Diamond Sutra comes first, or the idea of the concept of emptiness, which is popular in Indian Buddhism first, and then later it's the philosophy of being, okay? And so these two sutra, the sutra title of Diamond Sutra and Mahaparinirvana Sutra appear here. It also shows the importance of these sutra in Huineng's time. Okay, and then lastly, about the life of Huineng is that the illiterate Huineng and his achievement in the Chinese Chan school. Okay, we talk about that he being an illiterate person. Okay, and then how does that influence the teaching of the Chinese Chan school, which is also very important. Now, by the end, we list what are the sutras Huineng was knowledgeable of, which are the Diamond Sutra, the Vimalakirti Sutra, the Lankavatara Sutra, the Srangama Sutra, the Mahaparinirvana Sutra, the Lotus Sutra, the Brahma Net Sutra, the Sutra on the Contemplation of the Buddha of Infinite Life. Okay, so here I also want to point out the Lankavatara Sutra, okay? And in Chinese Chan school, the first patriarch up to the fifth patriarch, they all teaching the Lankavatara Sutra, okay? And it is not until the fifth patriarch he started to oppose, to promote the Diamond Sutra. Okay, so just keep that in mind about this. And then, okay, so following, I'm going to just continue what Venerable Master Xing comment on chapter 1. Okay, so after learning the life background of Master Huineng, then we talk about what happened, what are some of the incidents happened to him, okay? After he got recognized by his master, the fifth patriarch, okay? So it's a tradition that from the previous patriarch, when he handed down the what we call the Dharma seal to the following patriarch, okay? The object that he used is the robe and the bowl, okay? And it's a proof that the new teacher, master, he got recognized and he can continue the teachings that his master handed down to him. Okay, so in the text, in the first chapter, we read that there is a person called Hui Ming, and upon hearing that his master, the fifth patriarch, already handed down the robe and bowl to Huineng, so he sort of chased after Huineng, okay? And there was an encounter between Huineng and Huiming. So it's very difficult for most of us to understand why Huiming chased after Huineng, okay? And why patriarch, the fifth patriarch, asked Huineng to leave the monastery, because once he got a robe and bowl, and people would do something bad or chase after him to get a robe and bowl, okay? And some of my students, before when I talk about this, and then they ask why they don't follow, why they just take it, okay? Just respect Master Huineng, because he already recognized by the fifth patriarch. Well, that we have to talk about human nature, right? Because we learn Buddhism, but that doesn't mean that we all perfect our spiritual cultivation. And we still have to learn to accept things that may be not what we want, okay? So here it talk about the people who are still attached to the Dharma, and then they cannot let go of what they learned, okay? So, and it is from the sixth patriarch, the Master Huineng handed down the robe and bowl to his students who really follow his teaching. And it is because of his not handed down his robe and bowl that his school, okay, his students went to all over the places to spread his teaching, and which is what we call the flourishing of the Chinese Tan school. Okay? And so maybe it is also for us to think about, so what happened to the tradition of handing down the robe and ball? What is the pros and cons of that? Okay. Okay, so in an occasion that the fifth patriarch who asked Master Huineng to leave the monastery because the master was afraid that the other students wouldn't accept that this barbarian from the south now becomes is qualified to take the robe and bowl and becomes the sixth patriarch. So he sort of walked him to the riverside and to take the boat. And when they are on the boat, the master says that, let me row the boat. Let me take you to the other shore of the river. But Master Huineng says that, my dear master, let me do that, okay? Because he says, Master Huineng says, when I was deluded, my teacher ferried me across, and upon awakening, I ferry myself, okay? So this is a very famous conversation between master and student, okay? So we may think about, when can we say this to our spiritual teacher, because we often feel that we are not enough, okay, to walk on the way of our own, okay? But when will you think that the time is mature to do that? Okay. And Master Huineng, he also says that, talk about good affinity. Okay? Okay, the quote is that, in order to learn the Buddha way, first form connection with other people. And Master Xingyun and also talk about that. In Chinese, we say that 广结善缘, 未成佛道,广结善缘, meaning that before you attend enlightenment, you have to prepare yourself with good conditions, okay? And the good conditions that you created for yourself and for others, that would eventually not only helping others, but help yourself, okay? So this is reciprocal. And so my master, in commenting on this sutra, he also says that it's very important that we Buddhist students, we not only study the sutra, but we also need to put what we have studied, what we have learned into our practice. And so in each sutra, it starts with, thus have I heard. Okay. And by the end, it says, I would accept the teachings and practice accordingly. So it says that, my master says that if you just have the first part, that's if I heard, and not practicing what you have heard, you are just reading only the half part of the sutra. Okay. So balance, study, and practice is important. And now there's another topic that we can discuss about, is the hidden and profound. And the meaning of hidden is the teachings cannot be explained with words, but must be found within. So language is inadequate to fully explain the teachings. And why my master bring this into discussion, it's because when Hui Ming chased after Huineng, he was asking Huineng to tell him about the hidden meaning of the Buddha's teaching. Okay? And so what is hidden? Okay? Meaning that it cannot be explained with words, that which you have to find within your mind, okay? So that language becomes insufficient to explain the teaching, okay? And so in the book, it gives the koan story about what is the Buddha and also tofu chan. And I believe you can read that by yourself. And so we use the expression of that before we become enlightened, we are ignorant, right, to some degree. And it is like the film, okay, that our minds are clouded, and it's like our eyes are clouded. So here, it used in the text, it used a poem to describe that film over the eye and sky flowers tumble chaotically, so it cannot see clearly. So you turn away from all forms and you will see all Buddhas. Okay? And this is why that we actually can see all Buddhas. And that is how Master Xing he says that actually we can claim ourselves as a Buddha. So right after the refuge ceremony, he encouraged everyone to say, I am a Buddha, meaning that we just turn away from all forms, okay? And we will see all Buddhas. Now, in Tan school, Chinese Tan school, we emphasize the mind-to-mind transmission. Okay? So the first patriarch of Tan Buddhism in India should trace back to the conversation between the Buddha and Mahakashapa. And here I say conversation, maybe I shouldn't say conversation, or I should say a silent conversation between Shakyamuni Buddha and his immediate disciple, Mahakashapa. So the Buddha held up a flower, okay, at the Vulture's Peak, where he often gives his Dharma talk. And among the assembly, no one was able to understand the Buddha's teaching because his teaching is in silence and just upholding a flower in his hands. So among the assembly, only his disciple Mahakashapa understood the meaning. So Mahakashapa smiled back at the Buddha. And this is a very famous story we call mind-to-mind transmission. And that kind of lineage continues to Chinese Tan school. And so that's why we say that it's hidden because language is insufficient to explain the teaching. Okay. And following that, my master also talks about students of Tan school, of any Buddhist school. Actually, we should cultivate patience, okay? And if it's not yet there, you just be patient and don't hurry, okay? Do not start teaching too quickly. Here it refers to the fifth patriarch's advice to Master Huineng. Okay, he says that it is difficult to spread the Dharma, and so you have to wait for the right time to teach the Dharma. And he gives two examples: do not crack an egg before it is ready to hatch, and do not remove the lid before the rice is cooked. Okay, And so patience is very important. And in my experience in teaching students at a temple, I see students come and go, and perhaps it's because they are not patient enough. And so we always have to wait for the right time. And while in waiting the right time, we create conditions for the right time to happen. Okay. So the conversation between the Hui Ming and Hui Neng, okay. The Hui Ming says that to Hui Neng, he says that I come to you not for the robe and bowl, but for the teaching of Dharma, and which is parallel to what we also read in Vimalakirti Sutra, where Manjusri, Bodhisattva Manjusri, went to visit Vimalakirti, and in a small room where Vimalakirti stayed, Manjusri cannot find a seat, okay? And then so the conversation is, my respect guest, are you here for the Dharma or for a chair? Okay, so meaning that what is our motivation to approach to the Dharma? Okay, when we are seeking to learn the teaching from a master, from a spiritual teacher, our motivation is very important, okay? And so if we are praying to the Buddha or asking the guidance of our spiritual teacher, we shouldn't motivated by asking for wealth. Okay, moment please. Okay, because it's not guaranteed that you pray to the Buddha and then you ask for money, for fortune, and the Buddha will repay that for you. So our motivation is very important. And what is the life after one become enlightened? Okay, so I think you still continue to your work in helping others, in spreading the Dharma, okay? So whether you become a very well-known person or not, okay, your life continues. So you just do whatever you need to do. So like Master Hui Neng, after he got enlightened, he went to all over the places, and then when it is time for him to spread the Dharma, then his work was just continue to teach, okay, to the students. So it's very important that we should not just seeking for an easy life, okay? Because once we understand the Dharma, we should share that with people when time is mature, okay? And so like here, I show you the picture of the BLIA, the BLIA. When people are in hardships, okay, like in COVID-19 pandemic, BRIA members, they send the face mask to people who are in need of that. And that is a way of showing the care for our community. So in a way that we say that after we learn Buddhism, say that you have learned very profound teaching in sutras, And it is not something that you brag yourself, you feel proud of yourself, that you are superior to others in understanding the Buddha's teaching. On the contrary, we should further humble ourselves to teach and to share what we have learned and to apply the Buddha Dharma in our daily life. Okay, I think, yeah, okay. So this is basically what I prepared today. So any questions? Now, if you have, I think I have about 6 minutes. So any comments or questions or sharing? If you have anything to ask, please raise your hands and unmute yourself. Okay, Aina? Please unmute.
I have to remember to unmute. I was thinking about something that I've shared with people who are teaching or facilitating often is don't give so much information. Wait until someone is ready. And so I like the wait for the right time to teach the Dharma. Sometimes we want to teach instead of help people learn.
Right. But sometimes you are arranged to teach.
Sometimes what?
You are arranged to teach.
Oh, yeah.
You have to accept that when time
Yeah.
is mature.
Yeah.
Okay.
But even though when we are arranged to teach, if we don't give out too much information unless a question is asked, and then we know that the person who's asking the question needs that information and that is the right time to give it to them.
Right, right. When people got the question, it's the right time.
Yeah.
Yes.
You are right. Any other?
Yes. How can you tell what are criteria or things that you may know that it's time, like, you know, with family members and they're already adult, and how can you tell that it's time that it's the time has matured to start sharing the Dharma with them?
Okay. So take myself, for example, in my family, my eldest brother started learning Buddhism first. And at first, I didn't realize that. And he came back and meditate. He meditated a lot. So often that aroused my curiosity in asking him, what are you doing? And then he says that, okay, next time when there is a Buddhist master giving a lecture, I will take you with me. So that's how he get me there. So if you, sometimes it's what you behave, right? I think, yeah, action speaks louder than words. Okay, so if you are a parent, you would like your kids, your children to learn Dharma, then I think you start behave like a Buddhist, okay? Say, for example, you do your morning chanting at home, and then your kids may feel that they want to follow what you do. And at that time, you can teach them how to do the bows and how to recite the sutras. Yeah. Any others? If
I have a question. This is Tui.
Yes.
Hi, good evening. I was very struck by the statement regarding ferrying oneself across, meaning liberation, and it's something we must do on our own. And I was curious to know, given that I'm not a monastic, I have my parents and I have my husband's parents who often like to give me a lot of advice. So I was curious to know, how do we assert ourselves, even as adults, so that, so that I don't constantly get so much advice from them? Because I think they're trying to liberate me.
Sometimes you just have to politely nod.
Okay, you see how Aina is doing that. Okay.
Oh, I can't see everyone. I'm on my iPad. I can only see the presentation.
Your question lead me to my next slides. Let me show you. Okay. How do I do that? Okay. So I want you to think about two things. Okay. Let me skip the first one, just the second one. So on the way to enlightenment, where do we draw the line between what a Dharma teacher can help us and what we should rely on ourselves? Or is there such a line? Okay, so in the text, the Huineng says that when I'm not yet enlightened, you ferry me across the river, and now I got enlightened. Let me ferry the boat for you. Okay, so it seems that you can draw the line, but I think it's a very thin line. So when can a teacher stop giving advice to students? That's my dream. Okay, and then when can we rely on ourselves to have enough confidence to do that? Yeah. Okay, and perhaps I think my answer for you would be that, well, you cannot draw the clear line. You do that sometimes 70%, 30%, sometimes 50%, 50%, sometimes 10%, 90%. It depends. And that takes wisdom. And that's what we are going to discuss about next week. Okay. So the other question I would like you to think about is what's wrong with the attachment to the Dharma, okay? Because we talk about many people still attached to the robe and bowl, and which symbolize the Dharma, okay? The Buddha's teaching. So is it inappropriate to attach to the Dharma, okay? We should attach to the Dharma, right? The Buddha's teaching. But how come that kind of attachment is not good? We still have to detach that. So how do I know if I have Dharma attachment or not? Okay, I would like you to think about that. And next week, we are going to cover chapter 2, understanding pragya. Okay, so I would like you to read page 33 to 70. Okay, so that will be our time. I cannot overrun the time. So it's nice to see you all today, and I hope to see you all next week. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You too. Take care,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.